GWM. Whether you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, need servicing, repairs, or just want expert advice, Dominelli GWM is your one-stop shop for all things automotive. Located just up the road in Kirrawee, they offer competitive fleet pricing for all Sutherland Sharks FC members. Just mention the Sharks when you visit. Support the local business that supports your club. Dominelli GWM, riding with the Sharks. Now let's take a look at Mount Druitt Town Rangers lineup. Number 1, Dylan Hiskey. Number 3, Danilo Doche Montero. Number 5, Seth Dev. Number 6, Jared Nassarola. Number 10, Yuto Morita. Number 12, Rocco Pella. Number 15, Caleb Jackson Brown. Number 17, Stephen Stanich Moody. Number 20, Thomas Lopez. Number 29, Yuta Kimura. Number 99, Bilal Belkadi. And the substitutes, number 2, Alexander Trajanovsky. Number 4, Ken Aki. Number 14, Abraham Najjar. Number 16, Stefan Giga. Number 18, Lachlan Vassalou. And number 21, William Rankin. Shark fans, don't forget to grab your tickets for today's big Fat Boy raffle. There are some awesome prizes up for grabs. A $200 Ferros Group voucher, a $500 Freedom Furniture voucher, and first prize, a brand new Fat Boy Scrambler Evo.
Yes, welcome everybody. The penultimate game of the NPL New South Wales men's from Seymour Shore in Sydney South. Sutherland's Sharks hosting Mount Druitt Towns Rangers in a game for football's purists. A scrap for survival in the state's top tier. And it's a situation both clubs have become a little too familiar with recently. The Sharks something of experts at it though, playing their final game of the season in their new and improved home. Steve Zorich's squad looked new and improved at the start of the season as well, but hope was replaced by desperation as injuries and then losses mounted. A rearguard action means 3 points here will secure their spot at New South Wales top table again next year. A loss though, and the risk of a first relegation since 2002 becomes an all too real possibility ahead of a final day date with Marconi. Mount Druitt's plight is a similarly desperate one. A win here would see them jump ahead of the Sharks, ahead of a visit from Premiers-elect Spirit FC on the final day. Anything less, and the best they can hope for, is 2 legs against a League One side that wants to take their place. 3 points imperative if they wish to avoid a repeat of their relegation in 2023. So a date with destiny or disaster, the next 90 minutes will tell us. Alex Molchanoff delighted to be along with you on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel for a game that means so much to both clubs. Let's have a look at how they line up for it. Sutherland with just one change from the team beaten 5-0 by Apia last weekend. Daniel Nizic is in goal. It's the same back four of Lockie McDonald, Mo Ahmed, Lockie Fields and Yanni Nicolau. A midfield four as well for Steve Zorich, Matty Jackson on the right, Richard Shueke on the left, Tarek Meyer and Brendan Gann, the experienced duo through the middle, with Maki Petratos and Ty McGowan up front in today for Leo Matsis. For Mount Druitt, 2 changes after their loss to Sydney United 58. They're 2-2-2 since Ben Rollison's takeover, and it's got them back in contention to keep their spot automatically. Dylan Niski starts in goal. Rocco Pelle takes the place of Alex Trajanowski at right back. Tet Tet and Danielo Montero in the centre of defence. Stevan Stanic-Floody at left back. A midfield 3 of Jared Massarola, Bilal Belcardi and Caleb Jackson-Brown. Thomas Lopez starts on the right, and then it's the Japanese duo of Yuto Kimura and Yuto Morita up front as Mount Druitt get us underway in their yellow and green. Yellow of the Australian nation, green of Celtic, and the Rangers name, of course, of their Glasgow rivals. Scottish-founded club. It's had a long and storied history. They've had to fight and scrap to get up into the top tier of New South Wales football. They've been relegated, promoted, become something of a yo-yo club. They're trying to end that little run by staying up this season. Beaten in the first ever promotion relegation playoff a couple of seasons ago by St George FC. They don't want to be back there again. Change of coach, a large turnover of playing roster as well over the course of the season. Andy Montgomery gone. Ben Rollison stepping up from Blacktown Spartans. Funnily enough, the same path that his predecessor took to taking on the job. He's having more success with the squad that he has inherited. Sharks are on a tough run of their own. Coming into this game, winning 1 of their last 7. That was against Sydney FC. Getting the first goal today for them is going to be important. You say it for every club, but the Sharks have only gained 1 point when falling behind all season. So important that Mount Druitt start quickly themselves. Game earlier in the year between these two finished in a 0-0 draw. Game that was a topsy-turvy one, without a lot in the way of chances to either team. Expecting it to be cagey, expecting it to be physical. Two teams that have improved their discipline as the season has gone on. Not that Sutherland quite showed that last weekend against Apia. They are running hot. One of the favourites heading into the final series. This is one both teams have had circled on the calendar for a while. Sutherland look to have kept themselves out of this little relegation battle for the first time in a number of years before falling back into it. A dreadful run of form through the middle of the season. Weren't just failing to win games, but finding the back of the net was a struggle. They went one stretch of 6 games without finding the back of the net. A lot of that was in the absence of the man who just played the ball back there, Maki Petratos, their top scorer with 8. Lachlan McDonald sticking his foot a little too high for the liking of the referee. So Mount Druitt are going to have the early opportunity from a set piece, and this is something they've become more and more proficient at over the last few weeks. The tall timber of tap-tap to aim for in the area. Bilal Belkadi has a handy knack of getting himself on the end of these things. Danilo Montero, Rocco Pella, all options. Stanic Floody and Komura standing over in a 2-man committee. Looks as though it's going to be the Japanese winger. It's high into the air, and it gave Nizic plenty of opportunity to judge it. Thomas Lopez wasn't going to make it comfortable for the Sharks' experienced shot stopper. He's faced tougher tests over his career. Turning back to this level after so many years at Sydney United. Daniel Nizic, quick spell at the MacArthur Bulls in the A-League men's. It's one of plenty of highly touted signings at the beginning of the year. He's been the most available, the most consistent. Been changes in the back office all season. Sutherland, Greg O'Rourke and Trent McClenaghan making their way down the front of the stand. They're the new brains trust upstairs. Need the players they put on the grass to perform today, but the first chance is going the Rangers' way with Stanic Floody. A good bit of recovering defence from Mo Ahmed. Mentioned Nizic's importance to this Sharks team across the course of the year. Ahmed has been comparable. Signing from Rockdale Illingdon. Came across more as a central midfielder, but been playing as a centre-back for the majority of the season. See that how packed that bar behind the goal is. Got their team under threat at the moment as Montero got across the front post but couldn't nod on target. They have recruited from far and wide to keep themselves in the race to stay in this division. Have Mount Druitt. I'd say the same in the Sharks at the start of the year. Maki Petratos making his way off the left. He was big name signing along with brother Costa, who suffered an early season ACL injury. So unfortunate. He was really the first of the big names to go down. Just seemed to drop like flies. Steve Zorich has done very well to make sure that his squad is in a position where a point today will more than likely be enough to keep them up. 3 would ensure their spot. Draw means they're relying on results around them, with the Western Sydney Wanderers and Central Coast Mariners in action later today. Mariners playing in a big game of their own. It could be the opposition on the day that Spirit clinch an historic title. A reminder that that game is on immediately at the conclusion of this one. 5:30 kickoff, but sure we're going to have a grandstand finish here. You won't want to miss that. Flick over and see if Macquarie Park Bayside can become premiers for the first time. Just their 3rd season in this division. Quite remarkable story in its own right. Down the other end, this relegation scrap has started a little tentatively from both sides. Marita over the top, and Lopez is chasing it down. Always full of heart and endeavour. How's the quality on the cross? It's not too bad, I tell you. Can Marita chase it down? He stuck it back into a dangerous area. Pella took an air swing, and now Sutherland can get going the other way. Through Tarek Maya, one of their mid-season signings from Sydney United. Shueke, the hero for them earlier in the season. He got his first senior goal at Christie Park against Spirit FC. Sutherland, one of the few clubs to take points at that ground this season. I've had these little markers of success against some of the bigger clubs over the course of a 30-game season. Remember their performance very early in the year, a visit to Manly United, a place where they've had a very good record down the years, but they were superb that night. Seems a very long time ago now. Stanic Floody into the channel. It's giving Kimura something to run for, but he couldn't reel it in. Rest of those fixtures this afternoon. Apia Leichhardt taking on St George City at 6 o'clock. The Wollongong Wolves against Marconi at 7. Western Sydney Wanderers also kicking off against St George FC at 7 o'clock. If you're a fan of one of these clubs, particularly the losing side, that Wanderers game will be a big watch at 7 o'clock. As we sit here early in this game, Sutherland sitting on 23 points, head of the Mariners on goal difference, also on 23. Now Druitt on 21. And then down to the Western Sydney Wanderers on 19. They still hold the automatic relegation spot. Only the bottom place team in the NPL New South Wales goes straight down. Second bottom into a promotion relegation playoff with the second place team from League One, and that could be a number of clubs. That competition has been also tight this season. Lockie Fields was asking for a call that didn't come. The safest thing to do was nod it behind. So another early corner for the visitors. So they've edged the start of this game, but it was a tight run thing. Another spectacular crowd here at Seymour Shore. Stand packed to the rafters. The bar behind the goal. Plenty populating the hill on the far side as well. Another bit of punching for Nizic to do. He did it well. Gan toe pokes it away. Big story it was, him returning to the club, part of their last premiership back in 2008. He was a youngster, won the gold medal that year. He's the best player across the competition. Launched his professional career into the A-League with Sydney FC. He's gone on to have a long and successful time in Southeast Asia. Tarek Maya has taken on a fair bit of blood. He's coming off to the near side. He's covered in it. Be hoping none of it gets on his kit. That will mean that has to be replaced. James Macris is the fourth official. He's taking a close look at the Sharks' defensive midfielder. So they're down to 10 men for the moment. Have to be right up amongst it. And Maya has had to find a new shirt, which is not too pleased about. But Druitt playing without him for now. 10 minutes gone. They've had the better of it. Chance to try and combine down the right. This is a nice bit of skill from Yanni Nicolau. Or in fact from Rocco Pella, rather. And my right back's mixed up. Sutherland eventually working it out between them. That was Nicolau doing the clearing in sky blue. And then risky ball back in field from Richard Shueke, or from Matty Jackson rather, who's flitted out to that right-hand side. Looking infield for his left full-back. Tarek Maya has returned to the field, wearing Leo Matzis' jersey, so number 77. Now seeing as the experienced midfielder. Down onto the ball, Bilal Belkadi doesn't lose too many 50-50s, and Lockie fields his challenge through the back of Yuto Morita. Sees another whistle go Mount Druitt's way. Building pressure through these early set pieces. Nizic hasn't been so busy that it's been stressful, but he's had to be tidy in his work. This ball's being launched in towards his penalty area. What will this deliver? That's a dangerous one towards Pella, who got a touch. Presence of the Sharks defence enough. Ty McGowan back lending a helping hand. And now Petratos is trying to play a lone hand up front. Caleb Jackson-Brown dispossessing him. Well, the ball over the top has given Lopez something to run for. Crossing cover was Fields. Be a third corner of this early period of the game for Mount Druitt. Brought you that table. A reminder, a win for Sutherland would secure their place in the NPL New South Wales men's next season. A win for Mount Druitt, and they jump them out of the relegation spots. Ball goes low this time. Montero got something towards it. Don't know if it struck the arm of Yanni Nicolau. Even if it did, it was very close to his body. Would have been difficult for the referee to give. But Mount Druitt continuing to build early pressure. And Tep has stayed up. Nizic tips it round his post. Well, Tep has been in and around this sort of game the majority of the early parts of his career. Both the Northbridge Bulls and Bulls Academy as they became. Still only 24, but very experienced in this sort of fixture. Fields getting highest amongst the pack. It might fall for Belkadi. Didn't catch that as he was looking to. Another raid weathered by Sutherland. Shark supporters on their toes in the early moments. Ben Rollerson has somewhat of a reputation for setting his sides up in a very functional manner, able to absorb a lot of pressure, and then, when given opportunities, able to exert their own will on opposition. Defences showing all sort of skill needed to survive these sorts of situations in the very early periods here at Seymour Shore. Ahmed calling for players ahead of him to make runs into channels. McGowan has done just that. Done well to keep the ball in play as well. Whips it in dangerously towards Maki Petratos. Tapped there to do the defending. That's Matty Jackson on the left-hand side. Runs it back for Tarek Maya. Swinging cross at the feet of McGowan. It's been brought in today for Matsis. Couldn't quite sort his feet out in time. Sutherland having their best period of the early going. Nicolau said it was win or bust in an interview with Football New South Wales this week. Mid-season signing. It's been part of big battles at the top of the table, part of Harpia's premiership winning squad back in 2023. Secured him a move to the A-League men's. 20-odd appearances with the MacArthur Bulls. Dropped back down to this level and been a very handy addition for Steve Zorich. It's another more used to being involved in battles up the top than down the bottom. He's done well to keep his squad together. Saw those runs throughout the season where wins hadn't been flowing freely, goals hadn't been. Shueke He and Petratos linking up, the two top scorers for Sutherland this season. The first sight at goal. Oh, they've done it! Maki Petratos! Sutherland's first shot of the match, and they've drawn first blood. The crowd are singing about survival here early. Ball in from Shueki. Petratos with another enterprising run. He might have got a bit of help from the deflection, but he won't care about that. It was direct, it was cutting. Wasn't quite clinical, but the result is the same for the hosts. And they draw the first big cheer out of this hearty crowd at Seymour Shore. Just what they wanted to see. Niski did his best to react. He got a fingertip to it, but he was wrong-footed by the deflection. And Maki Petratos, his 9th strike of the year. Where would Sutherland be without him? And he's going to have another chance to run in behind here. Again, it's Shueki playing provider. And again, he's seen off Belcardi. Cross is just asking for someone to get on the end of it. Matty Jackson goes down, helped over rather than pushed by Rocco Perla. Two that have seen plenty of each other early in their first grade careers. Indeed over their junior ones as well. Ty McGowan's been very impressive in the early stages when he's had service. Yanni Nicolau is trying to go at Rocco Perla. Lays it back for Maya. And now Ahmed. Sutherland looking buoyed by that goal. More confident in possession, just stroking it around. Trying to draw Mount Druitt out of their shape as they did so well for the first goal. By a different method. And McGowan again has found the space between defence and midfield. Shueki. Petratos. Oh, gorgeous ball. Shueki's in! And he's poked it wide. Niski was so sharp off his line. I don't think he got a touch, but Richard Shueki's had a very bright start to this game. Played in there by a gorgeous slide rule pass. The Mount Druitt Town goalkeeper just did enough. Got 3 goals this season, Richard Shueki. They've been very similar in manner. Runs in behind the defence. Very much his want. He's trying to get involved straight away again here. Shueki pleads that he didn't get a touch. Referee disagreed. It's the first goal for Sutherland against Mount Druitt since this time last year. The corresponding fixture finished 1-1. We mentioned how important in the opening stages an early goal for Sutherland is. They have not been good coming from behind. They've avoided having to face that situation here this afternoon. How will Mount Druitt respond? They're the ones that have taken it up to the big clubs. It's been these sorts of games where they've struggled to take points against those around them. Pushed Blacktown all the way in both the games against them. Struggled against different academy sides over the course of the year. Looked as though they were going to drive their way out of trouble. The result a few weeks ago. They're right back amongst it here. So that win against Wollongong really got them believing. Sydney Olympic, they defeated at Belmore to get themselves up and about, back in this race to stay away from relegation. How will they answer Maki Petratos' goal inside the opening 20 minutes? It's Montero. Signing from Portugal. I really mean it when I say it, that Mount Druitt have searched far and wide. Pella and Belcardi, the duo from Manly United. Montero from the Portuguese 4th division. Spent a bit of time with Geelong Soccer Club down in the NPL Victoria a couple of years ago. Tap's big switch of play. There's a chance for Kimura. There's a signing from the Mongolian Premier League, of all places, with Kangarid FC. Japanese counterpart Yuto Morita was playing his football most recently in Malta. They have scoured the globe, bring together their squads. They're trying to pull them out of the mire. Stuck in the mud at the moment. Danilo Montero not seeing a lot of options going forward, so Niski forced to come out and play the long ball. Fields winning the header. Lopez, one of the few remaining from the start of the season, along with Caleb Jackson-Brown, Jared Massarola. Players with a little longer history in NPL New South Wales football. They're getting those decisions in the middle of the field, though, at the moment, the visitors. Showing their smarts. And Yuta Kimura says, let's get those big bodies in the box. Give me something to aim for. Sutherland's initial push just after their opening goal has swayed somewhat. They've got more defending to do. Fields has been titanic in the early stages, clearing balls like that out of his defensive penalty area. Jan gave it a helping hand. Jackson-Brown recycling. Morita again. Didn't quite judge that one. Fields again the man in the way. And a nice knockdown from Petratos. Gan's got half the field ahead of him, and Mount Druitt have thrown numbers forward, so must get back in a hurry. Niski sweeping. Brendan Gann, once upon a time, might have been favourite for that ball. The age of 37. So a little bit of heat has gone out of those legs. Still made a good fist of it. Niski had to be alert. Looking into the sun, he's got the cap on. Ty McGowan, it doesn't look dissimilar to young Brendan Gann here. You could put a photo of the two of them up about 17 years apart and struggle to see a difference. McDonald into a scrap with Morita. It's a clever little back heel, and it's found Tarek Maya in a wide position. Tep stooping to clear. And the Mount Druitt might just be out of trouble for the moment. Morita's touch didn't find anyone in green and gold. Message with a sweet strike. Fortunately, Petratos was coming back from an offside position, so couldn't really compete. Niski's got to be alert. Gowan's getting through a lot of hard work. Gorgeous conditions for football here today. We've been soaked in Sydney over the last 2 weeks. This game never in danger because of the artificial surface here at Seymour Shore, which is as good as any across the competition. Conditions for players on a late Saturday afternoon in winter could not be more picturesque. Alex Molchanoff along with you on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel here at Seymour Shore. Reminder as well, you can catch all the highlights as all the build-up to the NPL New South Wales finals, the promotion relegation playoff as well. When we know its combatants, search at NPL NSW on Instagram and X, NPL New South Wales on Twitter, or on Facebook rather. You'll find highlights, match reports of all the games. Jude Dolan doing a good job behind the scenes, bringing you the sights and sounds from today. Around this ground that the Sharks have called home for half a century now. team have made a strong start to this game, leading through Marki Petratos' early goal, helped by a defender's deflection, but it has them in pole position. Not yet half an hour played. Responded well to that heavy defeat by Apia Leichhardt. There was an understanding across the club that wasn't going to be the result that was going to define their season. It's more likely to come here. They've started in a positive manner. And now Druitt are making a good fist of trying to bring something back. Morita and Kimura, the two Japanese nationals, been prompting and probing, but it's been Sutherland in counter-attack who've looked the most dangerous, really. Petratos goes to ground. He was looking for a free kick. It didn't come, and then Massarola is almost rugby tackled over by Tariq Maya, who pleads his innocence. Avoids a booking. Might be talking himself into one. Not happy with the decision being given against him whatsoever. And again, I think a cut has opened up on Tariq Maya's head, so he's been pointed off the pitch again. It's more frustrating for the midfielder than any coloured card. Saw that cut open up above his left eye already. He's got the bit between his teeth. He's been leading them through midfield. In fact, it's actually the back of his head that's opened up. Sharks down to 10 again for just a moment. It's Danilo Montero bringing the ball forward. Crash of legs between Shueke and Stanic Floody. Montero. That's a gorgeous switch of play. It might have opened something up. Fortunately, Mount Druitt not able to make anything of it. Gorgeous bit of skill from Shueke, showing his pace again. Just lost control of the football as Belcardi came across in cover. Mid-season signing from Manly United. Bilal Belcardi added a measure of steel to Mount Druitt's midfield. Murray doesn't mind carrying the ball forward either, which is what he's doing here. Stanic Floody into Shueke. Half an appeal for a handball. A corner will do. For Mount Druitt as they search for their equaliser. Steve Zorich been very animated on the sideline. He knows just how much this game means. Again, it's Morita who's entrusted with the set piece. It's allowed to run right to the top of the 6-yard box. Still might be a chance. And Morita scraped the post of Daniel Nizic. Kimura's cross wasn't really dealt with. It sort of bounced its way to the top of the 6-yard box. Sharks eventually able to clear, but not with any venom. Japanese striker nearly made them pay in full. Still only got a 1 goal in his time with Mount Druitt. It's his 9th appearance. Very close to adding a second there. Kimura cutting in off the left and striking. It was swerving as well, and Nizic beats it away. Not the most exciting of saves, not for one for the cameras, but one you got to get right as a goalkeeper to make sure you don't give up a rebound in a dangerous area. Got plenty of purchase behind the punch, did Nizic. Half an hour played here. Mount Druitt have responded well to going behind. Looking for a result on the scoreboard, though. Good performance today will not do. Good win by Jackson Brown, always full of heart and running. Turned over by Fields. A groan of frustration goes around Seymour Shaw. Does their team invite more pressure? Massarola. This is where it's going to be interesting for Mount Druitt. This is not a situation they face too often this season, being asked to break down a deep set defence. All 11 Sharks players behind the ball, protecting this goal-to-nil lead. Massarola might be the key to unpicking the lock. Stanic Floody wide of him. Trying to link up with Belcardi. Gans going to be a leader as much by example as by voice. Lopez. Druitt trying to work it through the air. That's a game to play. You've got to be precise. Might just fall for Thomas Lopez. Good tackling. Well, I'm not sure it was quite out of the coach's manual from Ty McGowan, but it was effective enough. Interrupted Mount Druitt's attacking flow. Tap. Ball poked into a dangerous position. Lockie McDonald barely missed a game this season. 2 goals from right back as well. Another of a number involved in today's action that's been through the Bulls Academy system. Two goals this season for the 20-year-old right back. Down goes Mo Ahmed. Mo Ahmed made 39 appearances for Rockdale Illingdon over his 4 seasons there. He's almost caught that number with his amount of games this year for the Sutherland Sharks. Had to fill the big boots of Mitch Stamatelis, who's been such a leader for Sutherland, another who made the switch from Rockdale Illingdon late in his career. Ahmed still much earlier in his. Tarek Meyer now sporting a big bit of Vaseline on the back of his head. Attempt to stop that wound just leaking out. Here's Matty Jackson, Sutherland Junior, one of their proudest products in the last couple of seasons. Been a mainstay in the first team for a few years now. He's beaten Rockapella to that ball, at least he thinks he has, right in the corner. Wiggled his way free of the first. Held up cleanly by Caleb Jackson-Brown, and throw-in gone Rangers' way. Late challenge, this time from Ty McGowan, whose industry has been helpful for Sutherland so far this afternoon. A little overzealous with that challenge, so he's the first booking of today's all-important fixture. 20-year-old. Provided the pass for Richie Chueke, who followed on with the assist for Marky Petratos' opener here. It's the goal that separates the two teams 10 minutes before half-time. Here's Jared Massarola. Druitt have had more possession, more territory since going behind. But really forced Daniel Nizic into a sharp save. There's been a few too many balls like that. Easy goalkeeping for the long-time Sydney United gloveman. Said where would Sutherland be without Marky Petratos after his 9th goal of the season, which opened the scoring here. Say the same of Daniel Nizic, who has recorded, I would assume, as many saves as any other goalkeeper in the competition this season. McGowan getting in behind. Petratos is looking for his second. I don't know whether the ball took a deflection. Certainly his backswing was interrupted. Just a flash of yellow in front of Marky Petratos as he tried to get that strike away. Massarola. Not too much pressure, so just able to advance forward. Say a pretty poor touch from Thomas Lopez. He's better in his locker. Montero. He's the one with the ability to play one of those long-range passes and try and unpick Sutherland that way. Pretty intent on not letting that happen. Setting up in the back five when they don't have the ball. Stanic Floody was looking for that first-time ball. In behind it, trickles over Daniel Nizic's byline for a goal kick. Game earlier this weekend, or last night in fact, Sydney FC and Blacktown City playing out another classic, 3-3. Only seem to play strong fixtures between these two. I mentioned Mount Druitt and how much of an up-and-down team they've been over the last few years. Trying to win here for their first time in 3 visits. That was actually their last win against Sutherland, home or away. The goal scorers that day, 2 of the biggest names in NPL football across Australia at the moment. Jack Stewart, the RPL Leichhardt winger, started his career so impressively in yellow and green. And Buildup was a late substitute. He has had some sort of season down in NPL Victoria with Heidelberg, getting ready for an Australian Championship campaign. 18 goals in his 24 appearances just in the league this season. Been quite a remarkable turn in his career. Plays Yinka Samola, who was away and then came back and has now departed the club again. Stanic Floody, part of the new era of Mount Druitt player. Lovely feet from Morita and just a moment of hesitation. In fact, it was Kimura trying to get the shot away. It's just threw his studs into the ground, and Mo Ahmed has found himself high up the pitch. It's a gorgeous ball in field for Maki Petratos, who has the Mount Druitt defence backpedaling. Montero in the way, managed to block behind. Mount Druitt are leaving holes open when they turn the ball over high up the pitch. Montero having a word with the players in front of him. So Sutherland have their first chance to put some pressure on Dylan Neski from a corner. Mo Ahmed for Maki Petratos. What has Ty McGowan got from this corner? He'll be swinging in towards the Mount Druitt goalkeeper, who's beaten! Oh no, it's been disallowed. The referee has spotted a foul on the Mount Druitt keeper and then prevents them taking it quickly. That could have become controversial very quickly. Still, Sutherland will argue quite what the referee spotted there. Nizic looked to have been caught out directly from the corner by Ty McGowan. It would have been a spectacular second goal of his senior career. Not to be. And Steven Zoric is apoplectic. Mount Druitt trying to respond in kind. This could be a defining 2 minutes of this game. As Stanic Floody gets forward and then gives Lockie McDonald a shove. Still Steven Zoric is going on. James Macris and Blake Sanchez-Cruz trying to bring things down a notch. I think Steve Zoric is going to go in the book here. Understand how important this fixture is to him and his team. And it's not actually gone to Zoric, it's gone to one of his assistants over on the bench. Well, a moment of momentary ecstasy for the Sharks faithful who thought they'd doubled their money. They went out to the building very quickly once the whistle had been blown. They look dangerous every time they get forward. Moments that they've been able to really put pressure on Mount Druitt's defence have been few and far between, but they have looked the more threatening of the two attacks when they have managed to get the ball forward. It's been a funny old game of football. And this time the decision right in front of the two benches goes Sutherland's way. Montero's header just did enough to nod it back to Niski. Been around for a few years now. Signed from Blacktown City after the 2023 season. Suffered the relegation in 2023, but stayed with Mount Druitt. Part of their promotion campaign last season. It's been a funny old time for him as a goalkeeper. Not seeing too much action whatsoever last year. Maybe just a little let off for him there. That ball swung high and over his head. There's enough contact there, either on him or one of his defenders, for the goal to be disallowed. So Marky Petratos' strike inside 20 minutes is the one that separates us. I feel that is not the last twist in this tale. Sunny Sunday at Seymour Shore, or Saturday rather. Brendan Gann has nicked the ball off Mount Druitt. Can he put in a dangerous cross? Montero heads it up, not out. Niski goes with two fists, and eventually Jackson Brown can finish the job. Petratos. Gorgeous turn. The pass isn't too bad either for Matty Jackson. Belcardi back in cover, and it's Sutherland who have another corner. Finishing this first half the stronger. Exactly as they need to. Love that security of a second. Thought they had it. Wouldn't be surprised if Ty McGowan tries exactly the same thing here. Worked for him once. How proficient is he with the execution? Can he knock it in towards Niski's back post again? He started deeper this time, the Mount Druitt goalkeeper, and got two strong fists to that ball. Read it rather better. Knew what was coming. Nice touch from Lopez. Morita playing hold-up. He's given Jackson Brown something to chase. Nizic between he, Nicolau and Fields sorts it out. Been a tense, tight opening to this one. You expect nothing less given the importance of it. Sutherland's defence has stood up for now. They've got another 45 minutes in their legs. If they do, next weekend's game will be a happy dead rubber. 2 minutes indicated by James Macris, the fourth official, to be added on. Mount Druitt have one last chance at the end of this first half. Thomas Lopez is right at the edge of the area, waiting for this throw from Pella. Over the head of Belcardi. Very well there, Tarek Maya, to nick it off the toe of his opposition. Teps bringing it forward, though. Awkward one for Schueke. Montero's touch lets him down, and now Brendan Gann has got a head start in the foot race. Good covering defence from Belcardi. Very good at sniffing out that sort of danger. A bit of carpet burn by the end of the day. Belcardi. Lucky McDonald's going to go with a long throw here. The shadows of half-time. Montero read it best, headed it back from whence it came. Lopez with a little back heel. Maya stretching between a glut of yellow shirts. It's very scrappy stuff towards the end of the first half. Ball won by Massarola, just adding a cool head. And Lopez has got space to run into. Ball in for Jackson Brown wasn't bad, just at an awkward height for him. That sort of sums up Mount Druitt's first half. They've had moments like that, but no clear-cut chances. Daniel Nizic has been fairly comfortable in his work. Mount Druitt have had more territory, more possession, and not created enough, and Sutherland made it count when they got forward. The help of a deflection, Marky Petratos, his 9th league strike of the year, has given the home side the lead. 3 points in the locker for now. If they can hold on for another 45, they'll be safe as NPL New South Wales men's combatants in 2026. Half-time here at Seymour Shore. Tense, tight, moments controversial. But at the break, it's Sutherland Sharks 1, Mount Druitt Town Rangers 0.
Time challenge, chase the shark. We're going to run this in 2 rounds so that everyone gets their chance. And for chase the shark. Now it's time for round 2. This one's for all the kids aged 6 to 8. Come on down to the field and get ready. Same deal, wait for the buzzer, then chase down the shark and try to grab a tag. Let's cheer them on, everyone. Give it up for our 6 to 8-year-olds and for Chase the Shark. And now it is time for round 2. For all the kids aged 6 to 8 years old. There's a lot of them. Same deal, waiting for the buzzer, then chasing down the shark and trying to grab a tag. Let's cheer them on, everyone. Give it up for our 6 to 8-year-olds and to chase the shark. shark chasers. You were lightning fast out there. And a big thank you to our shark mascot for being such a good sport. Kids, give yourselves a big cheer. And now let's head back to the stands and get ready for the raffle. Shark fans, it's time to announce the winners of today's Fat Boy Raffle. A big thank you to everyone who purchased a ticket. Your support means a lot to the club. We've got 3 great prizes to give away, so let's get started. The winner of the $200 Feros Group voucher is Stephen Sukalis. Please make your way to the main grandstand to claim your prize. You have 60 seconds. Congratulations, Steve. Next up, the winner of the $500 Freedom Furniture voucher is George Manasakis. Please come down to the grandstand. George Manasakis, if you can come down right to the halfway line level at the grandstand. We got him. Congratulations. Well done, George. And now for the big one. The winner of the brand new Fat Boy Scrambler e-bike is Joshua Lloyd. Congratulations. Please come to the grandstand. You've got 60 seconds. Joshua Lloyd. Please come to the grandstand. Congratulations, Joshua. Brand new Fat Boy Scrambler e-bike is yours. Sutherland Sharks FC would like to extend a sincere thank you to our valued club sponsors. Dominelli GWM. Mention Sharks at Dominelli GWM and you'll receive exclusive fleet pricing on all new cars. Pipe King. Barros Group. JD Sports. Snap Printing. Smile Orthodontic Design. Deploy. RWC Sutherland Shire. Develop R. Abode Property. Harper Jack Gold. TFS. The Records. Corbin Kitchens. Hader. Sports Speed Academy. Sunday Road. Reborn Athletics. Nectar Fruits. Crossfire Motorcycles. Lone Market Capital. Cutting Edge Interiors. Peak Facilities. SKG. Join. NSW Electrical. Mist Irrigation. Sharks Coatings. We're proud to have you as part of the Sharks family. Thank you for all your support. Now, if you're looking for the best place to take in the second half, head up to Smithy's Bar. Located on level 1 behind the Northern Goals, it's the ultimate spot to enjoy a drink and catch all the action. Please welcome the players back to the second half. Mount Druitt Town Rangers and your Sutherland Sharks.
Welcome back to Seymour Shore. The second half about to get underway between the Sharks and Mount Druitt Town Rangers. Marky Petratos' goal after 18 minutes has given the hosts the lead as the sun begins to set over Sydney South. It's setting on Sutherland's chances of relegation. Fancier certainly hoping so. Mount Druitt, if they go behind, aren't able to come back here. Set for a relegation playoff. Pending what happens tonight between St George FC and the Western Sydney Wanderers, they don't want to leave fate in their opponent's hands. Hosts about to get back underway. It's Petratos over the football, knocks it back for Maya. 45 minutes for Steve Zorich's team to hold out, and they will be NPL New South Wales men's combatants again next season. It's going to be a long 45 minutes for this healthy crowd, though, at Seymour Shore. They can ease the nerves by scoring a second early. Richard Schueke is going about doing that. It's a nice ball in field. McGowan across the face of goal, just out of the reach of the on-rushing player. Petratos couldn't sort his feet out. Well, it was Big chance early. Still might fall. Petratos turning on it. Slipping it through four-time McGowan. Montero on his back. Frantic start. Petratos trying something clever. Tep plays destroyer and gets the ball away. Been a substitution at the break from Steve Zorich. Mason Fernandez has found his way onto the field. He's caught me out for a second there. His first touch was nearly him finishing off, running through the centre of the park. Does look to be the only change for either side at half-time. Buddy Jackson back in a more defensive role. So that ball trickles out of play. It's Yanni Nicolau who's moved into the centre of defence. And Lockie Fields has been taken off at half-time after such an impressive first half as well. You can only assume a little knock has befallen him. There's a chance here for Mount Druitt to strike back. Can they do that? Mizic with good reactions and sharp hands. Not only save it, but hold on to the football as well. Now, Druitt's still leaving a lot of gaps for the Sharks to get into in transition. Nice ball from Shueke. Looks like Brendan Gann's gone for a change of boots at half-time. Not going to miss him in those. It's Tarek Maya turning on the ball in the centre of midfield. No Leo Matsis today for Steve Zorich. Signing from from Melbourne Knights, in mid-season. Shan't get those two mixed up. Ahmed's ball over the top after a little too much of Shueke. Had a fine first half. Played on the assist for Petratos, his opener. Took the most bizarre of deflections. Tep had made his way back across in cover. Came off his back heel and wrong-footed Dylan Niski. It's the Sharks' first shot of the match. Ended up with their goal. The goal that separates the two. Morita trying something very clever there. Didn't quite fall to anyone in green and gold. But Druitt fall today. They are looking very, very likely to be participants in a second promotion relegation playoff in 3 years. Both times as the team coming down from NPL New South Wales, beaten over 2 legs by St George FC, losing the second leg at home at Popondetta Park. All the more disappointing. Haven't beaten Sutherland since back in 2022. It's the last time they avoided relegation from this division. Course of a season. 2022, of course, a funny old year for Sutherland. It was a season they finished bottom, but weren't relegated because there was no relegation that year. 4 teams coming straight up from League One to expand the competition. So survived. No relegation since 2002, and it's looking as though that record is going to be kept intact today. I've had the brighter opening to this second half as well. Jackson. For Fernandez. Sort of one of the brighter prospects in the country during his time in Western Sydney. Wanderers colours. Shueke made a good run, but he just stepped a little too early. And Marky Petratos is going to earn himself just a talking to here, I think. Knocking that ball into the back of the net when the whistle had gone a good 10 seconds earlier. Maybe a little harsh. Let's make it 5. Massarola searching for Morita. Haven't been able to find him consistently enough. Ben Rollison's got his hands to his head because there's space in behind again. Shueke. Sizing up his opposition. Goes past Stanic Floody and goes for goal. Geez, having some afternoon. Shares an embrace with the referee who he collided with after his backswing. He's all smiles at the moment. Assist nearly a ripping goal as well. 3 strikes this season, not a player Sutherland expected to be such a big part of their first grade plans at the start of the year. 20-year-old, but injuries brought him into the squad and his form has kept him there, even amongst all the new signings. It's been a valuable asset to Steve Zorich. Been played as a lone striker at times, an advanced winger as he has been today. Great piece of defending from Jackson. Desperate stuff to get there ahead of Jackson Brown. He wins his side the free kick. He's got a flick and a trick in him, Matty Jackson, but the greatest assets he possesses is his desire and willingness to dive for footballs that others would rather not contest. A perfect example of it there. Brave player. Nicolau leading his side from the back. He's been another key signing through the middle of the year for Sutherland. That big game experience from RPR. Maya! That's why they paid the money. That's why they brought him. He might have just kept them up. Stunning strike. No chance, Niski. Jubilant Sharks at Seymour Shore. It won't strike many sweeter than that, Tarek Maya. Brought here as one of the saviours, and maybe he'll be driving them up the table next season now. And Mount Druitt have a mountain in front of them. We said that there was space being left in transition. Sutherland have found it again. And Maya has provided that little bit of class that they were looking for. And another gorgeous turn inside. They're covering Jackson Brown, and now into the scrap with Belcardi and Massarola. Little hip and shoulder there from Tarek Maya. The throw's gone Mount Druitt's way. That second goal they thought they'd earned just before the break, and now found it. Rangers have been not necessarily outplayed today, but the Sharks have been more clinical, more threatening getting forwards, more disciplined defensively. And so they're sitting pretty. With just over half an hour to play. Maki Petratos before the break, Tarek Maya just 5 minutes after. They might be the two names. It was a win at Spirit FC in a midweek fixture last year that almost secured them safety. This year it's going to be a big win against one of their relegation rivals. Mount Druitt hoping they're not going to be relegated rivals. But Richard Shuiki has got the bit between his teeth, and Maki Petratos is onside. There are numbers back for Mount Druitt, but slowly the Sharks making their way forward. A bit of a coming together in back play is unfolded, and a red card is out for Shuiki. Does that change the complexion of this match? It was a little coming together off the ball. All seemed very unnecessary. The referee had very little hesitation. And so the concern and consternation at Seymour Shore just ramps up again. Had done so much good this afternoon, Richard Shuiki. One of the better games we've seen him play all year, and it has been well and truly soured by that moment. Danilo Montero offers a hand almost in sympathy, almost as though he disagrees, but doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it was not something he needed to be dragged into. agree with the decision or not. Moment he'll no doubt learn from. A memorable afternoon, first for the right reasons, now for all the wrong ones. So just to add a little bit of salt into the wounds, just as Sutherland were getting forward on another attack, very well could have put the game to bed. Well, if you're expecting it to be straightforward, think again. Suddenly Mount Druitt with an extra man fighting for survival. This is not going to be an easy watch for Sharks fans now. Still over half an hour left. Plenty of time to find a couple of goals. Massarola may do it straight away. Volleyed away by McDonald. Tell you what, it will lend itself to the Sharks game plan this afternoon. Just sitting in, making yourself very difficult to break down, breaking into space. Not too much changes from that perspective. Pair of legs less. They are willing legs as well in the form of Richard Schueke. Lopez's delivery didn't beat Nicolau at the near post. His role is going to be very important in the preceding 35 minutes or so. Has that just given Ben Rollis inside a little bit of impetus, a little bit of hope? Still no changes made by the visitors. They've got a bit of attacking stock on the bench today. I'll bring that to you in just a moment. Massarola and Montero. You feel like these two are going to be integral if Mount Druitt are to find their way back into this match. Morita. Over the head of Lopez. Did well to get it back to Rocco Pella. The old Manly United duo with Belcardi linking up. And then a misplaced pass from Jackson Brown. And now Maki Petratos is the wrong side of Tep from a Mount Druitt Town perspective. No one up with him. Four converging, and it's a ball across the face of goal. But as I said, there's no Sutherland support. They may be able to pin the ball in this half, which will do just as much as a third goal. Finally, Richard Schuecke's made his way over to the near side. Some handshakes and high fives from the supporters. Tell you what, Ty McGowan's taken up his vacant position. Ball across the face, kept alive by Fernandez. Searching for Maya, who might have had a second. Turned over by Pella. Just joining us, it's the second half goal from Tarek Maya, one of the better strikes you'll see all season. Gorgeous volley from the edge of the area. And then a Richard Schuecke red card, which has just changed this game's complexion a little. Sutherland still comfortable enough. Should have not been able to create anything too dangerous in the preceding 5 minutes, but plenty of time left on the clock for them to maybe save their season. Massarola just got a toe in. There's going to be a lot of this. Building up from Mount Druitt's back line. Jackson Brown turned into Maya rather than away from him. And he's looking to maybe catch Niski out. That would have been a moment to remember. There's been a few goals scored from that sort of range here down the years. Maya was looking to add his name to that list. Wasn't to be. Lopez. Druitt strike. Give themselves a lifeline. Kimura. Driving at McGowan and winning his side a corner, which he'll go over and take. Points here today, and Sutherland will be just 3 from the points total that kept them up last season. I don't think they're going to need all 29 points they had a year ago. Sutherland's curled in deep. Could all change very quickly, though. Montero chasing this one down. Danilo Montero. He's just left that ball short. Jackson Brown did enough. Flicked over the top, but without any real purpose. And that will be worrying Ben Rollison somewhat. Mentioned towards the end of the first half, this is not a position Mount Druitt have been in too many times this season, trying to break down an opposition defence that will sit as deep and as firmly as Sutherland's will, with this 2-0 advantage. And now having a player less. McDonald's not worried about that. He's trying to follow up. 2 goals in a team that has only scored 28 this season from right full back is not too bad an effort whatsoever. Third would have been the most special of all. Sutherland hold this result, they will be safe. Not able to be caught by Mount Druitt Town Rangers or the Western Sydney Wanderers below them. They need all 3 points for that to be the case. One will not do. Spelcardi did very well to spin that over the top and give Morita something to run for. He engages Nicolau and gets a shot away, which Nizic was happy to see flash across the face of his goal and wide. And making that point now to his midfielders. Cannot allow that amount of space for Yuta Morita to run into. He's a threat in behind, along with Lopez and Yuta Komura. We mentioned a bit during the Australia Cup how A-League clubs have been reluctant to go into the Asian market. No shortage of particularly Japanese players that have made their way through the NPL New South Wales over the last decade. Morita and Komura, two of which have done that. Kotaro Katsuta is a familiar name at Mount Druitt Town. Playing his trade at Sutherland this year. He's had limited game time because of injury. Rollison is going to turn to one of his strikers with A-League experience. It's Abraham Majok, another one of the mid-season signings. Spent last year with Sydney Olympic to limited opportunity. Now 26 years of age. A couple of goals in the A-League. Stints with the Western Sydney Wanderers and Central Coast Mariners a while ago now, but he's one with the potential to turn a game on its head. Just the one goal since signing with Rangers. They need him to turn up a big performance here. A point will do. It will keep them in the hunt, Mount Druitt. They really can't afford to lose here. 3 points leaves them at the mercy of Spirits in their game. Well, at the mercy of the Central Coast Mariners in their game against Spirit FC, which kicks off at 5:30. About 5 minutes away. Want to keep their fate in their own hands. Point would do that to some extent. Point would take them just one shy of the Mariners heading into the final day. It's not an easy task for them. They've got Spirit next week. Gives them more of a sniff than a loss does. They would certainly need all 3 points. Also leaves them at the mercy of going straight down. Should the Western Sydney Wanderers take a win in either of their last 2 games. That ball swung in towards Majok. He's trying to make his mark early. Nizic over the top of him. Looking for another crucial clean sheet. So had too many opportunities. Got one, the last win against Sydney FC. And the other couple of them in the league this season have come against the Western Sydney Wanderers. Manly United right at the start of the year. That came a reference very early. And against the Mount Druitt Town Rangers back in round 14 in a 0-0 draw. Danilo Montero has made way. He was the man taken off for Majok's introduction. No point playing with the two central defenders now. They've got to chase this game. Here is Majok, sliding on a surface that's perhaps getting a bit of dew on it as the sun sets. Nice ball for Morita. Couldn't skip away from McDonald, but he has won his team the corner to the frustration of Sutherland. This is the corner where Ty McGowan swept the ball over the top of Niski. Goal only disallowed by the referee's whistle in the shadows of half-time. But Druitt looked for something similar. Morita towards Nizic, who was never going to be caught out by that. Morita holds his hands to his head. Time beginning to run out. Just over a quarter of the game to play. Sutherland through Petratos and Maya with this 2-0 lead. Down to 10 men because of Richard Shueki's red card for an incident off the ball. That all the more worrying for Sutherland if they do fall back, because probably many be unavailable for at least the first leg of a potential promotion relegation playoff, but it's looking unlikely at the moment. Sutherland will be finding themselves playing those two fixtures. Dogged defending from Tep. Did well. Lopez got the touch. Jackson Brown was dragged to the floor by Matty Jackson. And that was silly from Mason Fernandez. Understand, trying to delay the restart given the situation, but it's already been done. Wasn't too coy about his attempts there. The substitute, and now there's a yellow card going to Bilal Belkadi. I wonder if that's about his protest towards the referee. Puts his hands to his head in disbelief. Last weekend as well. He's not shy of a yellow card, Bilal Belkadi. He's turned it over there. Chance for Sutherland to spring back forward. A third would kill the game off. Even with 10 against 11, you feel. Given the fact Mount Druitt have just not been able to create any chance of note since they went up a player. The battle for the ball on the far side. Sutherland playing with plenty of heart and spirit now. No, they're only 20 minutes away. This all-important day. Sutherland will take their time over every restart now. No reason for them not to. Ahmed just looking for players up pitch, lofts it into the air. Easily away by Jackson Brown. Down the wrong end for Mount Druitt. Nice work from Ahmed and Gan together. Those two through the spine of this Sharks team. Been so impressive again this afternoon. Maya! Saved by Niski. Nearly producing another moment of magic. This time the Mount Druitt goalkeeper was alive to the danger. Been trying his luck from everywhere this afternoon, Tarek Maya. He has been superb. The standout amongst a very impressive bunch. Stefan Giglio, the reserve Mount Druitt goalkeeper, is calling players over. Yuta Morita is now bleeding from his leg, and so it's going to be called off by the referee. It's something we've seen on both sides of the equation today. Sutherland waited to take their set piece. Don't need the second goal. So now it's Mount Druitt down to 10. We saw this happen with Tarek Meyer a couple of times in the first half. I've just been informed, Bilal Belkadi, his head in his hands for the yellow card for good reason. I'll bring that to you in just a moment. Ball played over the top. Morita laying it off for Majok. Is this the moment for Mount Druitt? Can they give themselves a lifeline? It's Jackson Brown at the top of the box. On for Lopez. Might have struck his own player. It did. And Yuto Morita was in an offside position. Apologise, it was Yuta Kamura who'd come off with a cut on his leg. Mount Druitt made good without him. Flying forwards. Nearly able to give themselves a goal back. Now, Bilal Belkadi is in disbelief about that yellow card because it's his 8th yellow card of the season, which is going to mean a 2-game suspension. So he will miss Mount Druitt's final day trip to Spirit FC, or in fact, the visit from Spirit FC to Popondetta Park. And then a potential first leg of a relegation promotion playoff. That is a big loss for Ben Rollison's team. A moment he didn't need to get involved in, really, Bilal. Tap, tap. Trying to get Mount Druitt out of their mire. They're not able to do so. Nizic confident out of his goal again. Expect nothing less. He'll be in conversations for goalkeeper of the year. Don't worry about that. Even given the plight of Sutherland over the course of the season at different times, he has been the stanchion between the sticks. Sutherland player returning, a Mount Druitt player returning from an offside position. Just over 15 minutes to play, and Richard Shueki's red card doesn't look as though it's going to come back and haunt Sutherland. His assist will be the defining moment of his afternoon, rather than the brain fade that saw him sent off. And Steve Zorich's frustrations at different times across the afternoon will quickly be waved away. His team look to have survived again. Had a knack for it, Sutherland. They've been circling the drain at different times over the last decade, but they have not gone down. That record's set to stay intact. If they can hold on for 15 minutes here, headed by Jackson into the arm of Gann. Referee quite right in waving it away. Tap. Can Mount Druitt muster something? They really have not had a lot in terms of attacking opportunity. Mentioned the duo that scored here on their last victory against Sutherland. Seems like a long time ago. That's Stewart and Duach. Running upfield and causing problems for the opposition. Nizic has had catching practice for most of the afternoon. And as evening falls here, it could be a long night of celebration up in the new bar behind Dylan Niski's goal. They've had a great view of the action, and they have enjoyed what they have seen. Perfect view of Tarek Meyer's strike. Subs coming here for Mount Druitt. Looks as though Will Rankin, another one of the juniors who's found his way in the first team. Been an ever-present across the matchday squads. They give him a little bit of impetus ahead of his introduction. Jackson Brown was trying to do that. He's full of running as ever. And substitution's going to come now, and it's going to be Thomas Lopez. He's brought off. Oh, who is it? No. Oh, it is Yuto Morita. It's been removed. No second goal in Mount Druitt colours for him today. Pella's throw towards Majock. Got the flick on. In fact, it's Kimura who's made his way off. Nicolau going over the top of Abraham Majock. Rankin's first touch was to steer it towards Daniel Nizic's goal, but wide. In fact, I apologise. I mis-ID'd twice the player Mount Druitt are bringing off. It's Stevan Stanic-Floody. The man removed. A strong limp on his way off. Both Japanese strikers still out there. 14 minutes to play. Poor touch from Matty Jackson, and it might allow Morita off the shoulder. Can he get a shot away? Plays it across for Majock, who was offside. Nizic spoiled it in any case. He's taken a few different challenges today, Daniel Nizic. No hard feelings, but he felt the studs at the back of his hamstring, I think. Brave piece of goalkeeping. He was not to know that the flag was raised by Blake Sanchez-Cruz on the near side. So 12 and a half minutes to play. Sutherland are nearly there. It's been a long season, torrid at times for them. Been paupers rather than princes for a lot of the year. Doesn't matter if you're still sitting at the same table as those at the top. Gives you a chance. Pella, can he be the hero for Mount Druitt? Not quite. And now Yuta Morita is down, and it looks like it's going to be the end of his afternoon. Yanni Nicolau down as well. They're falling like flies out there. Lachlan Vasiliu's had a couple of big moments for Mount Druitt on this run home. He's trying to add another one here. Just wonder how much time they are going to need. Debuted earlier this year, Lachie Vasiliu got his first senior goal. It's ticking off the career milestones and wants to stay up as part of this Mount Druitt Town team. Morita's evening now is over. He's holding the back of his hamstring as well. So that's not anything too significant. He's able to take the field. End of the day for Marky Petratos. Another big goal for Sutherland. What is quickly becoming a storied career in this club's history. Matt Moritz, who been in and out of the team this year. Some different struggles. He's got a goal in him. Doesn't mind playing with his back to it either. This is the sort of situation that suits him just nicely. Chasing down balls, giving defenders difficulties. Very, very good at that. 10 minutes to go. Sutherland just seeing it out. Game is underway out at Christie Park. Spirit looking to seal their first ever New South Wales Premiership. 5.5 minutes gone against the Mariners, yet to break the deadlock. And you can find that game where you found this one on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel, as well as all our games across men's and women's competitions this weekend, as you've been able to all season. Majock over the top. I think Majock stuck an arm out there. Not spotted by the referee. Mount Druitt can play on. Unfolding nicely for them. Pella's joined the attack. Nice first touch. Matty Jackson did enough to interrupt. And then Fernandez to get the ball away. It's all just nice and calm for Sutherland, which suits them nicely. 2-0 they lead. Tarek Meyer scored a beauty at the start of this second half. Forced another very good save from Dylan Niski. A long way out. Kimura for Tep. Belcardi knows it could be his last 10 minutes of the season. Is he going to have his say? It's found Lopez. Clever piece of defending from Mohamed. The Sutherland crowd are sounding rather comfortable as well. Majok. Nice footwork to keep the ball, but Mount Druitt needs some cutting edge now. Time is against them, well and truly. Both in the game and the season. Rankin. Over the top. Majok's got to the byline. He's got Ahmed in his back, and he's done very well to work a corner. I feel that if there is a comeback coming, it might just need to start here. Make things tense and tight for these Sutherland Sharks supporters. Kimura towards the near post. Nizic was trying to fight his way through a crowd of bodies. Rankin into an arm, waved away by the referee. Pellet trying to make something happen by himself, dispossessed. And now Moric can run it out of trouble. Brendan Gann still rolling around out there. Meyer goes down under the challenge. Be a fairly easy booking, I think, for the referee. Massarola argues his case. I don't think he had much of one, in all honesty. Been a difficult afternoon for the what's Arbia player. Been able to drive his team out of this little situation they found themselves in. Don't think Steve Zorich will see it this way, but it's been rather stress-free from a Sutherland perspective, even since the red card. Nizic has been as impressive as ever, but hasn't had to pull off too many heroics. Just man his station, reliable and steady as ever. The guys in front of him have done a terrific job. Yanni Nicolau started the game at left full-back, has come into centre alongside Mohamed and done a just as impressive a job. Matty Jackson's been game since being brought on at half-time. Oh, sorry, I should say Mason Fernandez ahead of Matty Jackson. Jackson moved back into left full-back and has barely put a foot wrong. Haven't been too many Sutherland players you can say that of today. Been almost faultless. Even early in the game when they were giving up possession and territory, they didn't oft look troubled. Safety and security in this division set to be their reward. 5.5 minutes of regular time to play. Can't see too much being added on at the end of all of that. Belcardi asking for runners forward, but it's all looking a bit listless from Mount Druitt. Majok, can he bring the spark? Looks for the switch of play. A little bit heavy for Pella, but he's a good athlete. Ball into the box didn't match his reading of its initial flight. And now he's pulled up as well. And the last thing they need is another plane going off with a knock. It's been a bit of a disastrous afternoon for Mount Druitt, in all honesty. Not much has gone to plan. Tep's been thrown up front as well as an auxiliary forward. Desperate times, desperate measures for the Rangers. Nizic showing all his experience, just taking his time. Big frame in pink. It's a colour he's grown to like this year. Like it even more if he can see out this game. Niski has not had quite as nice an afternoon. Massarola with every Sutherland player behind the ball. Bar Moric, who is putting pressure on it. It's all a little simple. This is not Mount Druitt's go. And the play in space, in transition, the 2 goals behind have meant they've not been able to do that for most of the day. But a good coaching performance from Steve Zorich and a good execution of the plan from his Sutherland Sharks. And it's been done with a lot of locals as well. There's been a lot of noise about the big signings. Matty Jackson's been there. Richard Shueki laying off on the assist before his red card. And then the big names adding that little bit of quality. Maki Petratos, Tarek Maya, the 2 names on the score sheet, but Matty Jackson a part of it. Mo Ahmed, a local of this area. Lockie McDonald, Lachlan Fields have all dug into the trenches over the course of 2025. It's been a long season, but one that's going to end with relief. And finally a base for this club to build on. So many things done right off the field this year. The team starting to turn in the right direction. That was quelled. They have fought on. And they must be given immense credit for that. 2.5 minutes from survival, and a picture that sums up their season. Daniel Nizic flying out the goal to take a ball and ease the pressure on his defence. Next week's fixture against Marconi will become a dead rubber. Pella's disbelieving of the decision, but it was all over. Mason Fernandez, Matty Jackson is there to defend his teammate further afield. I don't think Fernandez is all too worried about it. He's got the free kick. That's what he wanted. Pella's frustrations just getting the better of him for a moment there. Matty being pulled away by his Sutherland teammates. Just receiving a talking to from the referee. And Yanni Nicolau calling in position. I think you might have picked that up through our effects mics. Still he's barking instructions. Maya goes short. He's trying to eat some time off the clock. Jackson Brown turns away. Moric brought him down. The ball had continued upfield. Jackson Brown stayed down. This team's continuing without him because they need every second available to them. Kimura for Massarola. Still Jackson Brown is down. Druitt attacking with 10 against the 10 of Sutherland. Majok. Dangerous area. Lopez looping header over the crossbar. And you feel that was the moment. A couple of hearts in mouths for the Sutherland supporters, but Nizic, as always, seemed to have his distances judged. And it's just a matter of time. The cheers in the mouths of the Sharks supporters. They have stayed loyal and they have been rewarded. Terrific turnout again at Seymour Shore. About to let them tell the story. See, James Macris is electronic board on the near side there. They're going to have to wait another 5 minutes by the looks of things. It does go up now to confirm that. Couple of boos ring out. Mount Druitt had just not done enough. Belcardi. He turned the tide. It would be the most titanic of finishes if they are able to get one back. Jackson Brown has returned to the fray, but Morich's desire got him there. Ahead of Yuta Kimura. Turned over by Sutherland. Zoric is pacing his technical area. Got a smile on his face for the first time all afternoon. Pella. Massarola. Another chance to deliver towards Majok, who brought down Mo Ahmed. Perhaps the unsung hero of the Sharks' defence. Just in the right position. Majok is throwing himself about, but hasn't been provided with a lot of quality ball this afternoon since coming on. Say the same of a few others in Mount Druitt's front line. One last substitution for Steve Zoric, and it's a nice moment because Jordan Roberts, much loved, long-time teammate of Tarek Myra at Sydney United as well. Been very happy for his long-time teammate. Steve, you see the smile on Steve Zoric's face there. Roberts brought on.
Substitution for Sutherland Sharks, coming on number 3, John Roberts.
Get an ID for you on the player who's been brought off on the far side, but it matters a little. This afternoon has turned in tonight. Going to be an evening of celebration. Buoyant crowd have provided a good soundtrack to this afternoon's action. See Tep Tep. Yes, that is him. Thrown forward in desperation by Ben Rollison. The ball not progressing forward fast enough for him. Still it might come to Thomas Lopez. Pella continuing to get forward from right fullback. Now Belcardi's turn to try and measure something. It's up towards Tep, who knocks it down. Rankin's there. Saved by Nizic. And how many times have we, as a commentary team, over the course of 2025 said that? He stays down and takes his time. Beats a couple more precious seconds off the clock. Ty McGowan, the last removed by Steve Zoric. What a fine afternoon. Brought in for Leo Matsis today. Nizic bombs it over the top, and Moric has got front position. Nizic did well. Not too often you see that. The goalkeeper just launching it upfield. If there was a situation for it, it's probably now. Belcardi and Pella. What can he deliver? It's too deep for Tap. It's turned behind by McDonald. One last chance then. Maybe. Even now you feel it might be too little too late for Mount Druitt. Kimura again, and again Nizic. Not wanting to be the focus. What a leader he's been for them. With Ahmed and Nicolau today, with McDonald out wide, with Jackson to his left. Man to man, they have been terrific. And Roberts is adding a little bit of late rush and hurry. Couldn't win the corner, but the ball's down the right end. The run was enough. Just waiting for the final whistle with bated breath now. And in fact, they have awarded the corner kick. So Sutherland will get time to 8 more precious seconds off the clock. Cameras out in anticipation. Roberts holding it in that far corner. We'll do it all again. Sutherland survive again. Sharks' success at Seymour Shore. Mount Druitt's mire just deepens a little. Is there another relegation playoff coming? We will wait and see in their final date with the premiers to be Spirit FC. But for Sutherland, another year of NPL football secured. It's been a topsy-turvy road, but it was secured pretty simply on this Saturday afternoon. Maki Petratos opened the scoring with Sutherland's first shot of the match, stealing off the shoulder and played in by Shuiki's slide rule pass. Tarek Maya added the second, just why Sutherland spent the money to bring him here. That was enough. Mount Druitt couldn't muster too much in response even after the red card, which saw Sutherland down to 10 men. They looked comfortable, and Steve Zorich can finally take a deep breath and reset for 2026. Big crowd. They got what they wanted in Sutherland's final home game of the season. Mount Druitt will have to battle on. Sutherland's game for them, at least, now at Marconi next weekend, somewhat of a dead rubber. It's been a pleasure to bring you another historic day in Sharks history. They stay up for 2026. Alex Molchanov signing off from Seymour Shore, where it has finished. Sutherland Sharks 2, Mount Druitt Town Rangers 0.